We are live. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
We are concluding our week, getting you ready for Sunday and looking over Thursday night football. We will be talking injuries as well, and we will have some bold predictions for the weekend. First things first, we had football last night, kind of.
Yeah, we did. Well, it was a game.
It was a game. I would not say it was a good game. I honestly wouldn't say it was a bad game, but it was a game.
Yeah, I mean, if you only watched the first 3 quarters, it was pretty close.
It was interesting.
Yeah, pretty close.
You would almost not guess that it was the Texans out there.
No, you could have guessed it was the Texans. They just couldn't do anything.
Just by Davis Mills. Davis Mills long neck. That was the talk of the town yesterday. Did you see that photo?
No.
So Davis Mills apparently just has one of the longer necks on the internet. If you are to
Davis Mills long neck. I'm looking it up right
around.
I can't see anything yet.
You might have to search a little bit. I'm trying to pull something up for you and for everybody.
I see like a photo of him. He does have a long neck in which the head coach can grip his entire neck without touching helmet.
He also did, the head coach did grab his neck as a good thing, I believe. I believe that was supposed to be like a positive. Good job for throwing that touchdown, buddy.
He did throw it. He had the most touchdowns thrown this game. So honestly, Davis Mills over Sam Darnold is my takeaway from last night's game.
Sam Darnold played very well. Like, it is insane. I tweeted yesterday that, like, Sam Darnold is apparently good now. Like, that's something that a year ago, or like when he said he was seeing ghosts, we would have never expected to say. So I'm very happy to see Sam Darnold doing well. And it's kind of crazy how bad Adam Gase impacted almost everybody that he was ever involved with. And I feel bad for him saying that, but it just seems to be true.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely, especially with Christian McCaffrey going down relatively early. That was the photo I saw.
Yeah, it's out.
Yeah, out and about.
His neck is certainly out.
I mean, especially Sam Darnold played really well, especially with Christian McCaffrey going down early, able to keep them ahead. It looked like once like the new half started, he was able to actually start playing better again. Looked like he was a little rattled in the second. Hubbard played insanely well, almost
played pretty well. Yeah,
he had a big run, but he was averaging about 4.5 plus yards a carry. That's pretty good.
I mean, and just watching some of the throws that Sam made, and especially like he likes to get outside the pocket and move a little bit,
right?
And some of the throws on the run that he's just able to place have been spectacular so far. And on this team, which I think is obviously coached very well, he had a lot of open guys. So Joe Brady is known as one of the best offensive minds and is going to get a head coaching job sooner than later. So I think it's in part to that, but Sam is making the throws, and that's all you could ask for him. He has a little bit more of a challenge on his plate now that, like you mentioned, CMC was hurt. CMC, it sucked, man. You watch and you could kind of see his hamstring, like it looked like it popped a little bit. He's going to miss a few weeks with a hamstring strain.
Not on the IR, though.
I haven't seen that he's went on an IR.
No, I see. So far, they haven't put him on the IR.
Correct.
Which is, I think that's good news for Christian McCaffrey owners, meaning it won't be 6 weeks yet. Duchess is hungry. Sorry.
Was that a growl?
Yes, the little doggo. is just fighting demons in her sleep right now. Keep you updated. Another takeaway I had from this game, just Robbie Anderson is not being utilized in their offense like he has been in years past.
Yeah,
it is tough. I like Robbie Anderson. I just think it might be time that if you can pick someone up instead of Robbie Anderson, you might want to do it.
But what do you do? Do you drop Robbie Anderson? Like, that's got to be hard. I know. You traded him away, right?
I traded
in our league, but you drafted him in the 4th round. So that's a 4th round value that for some people taken in the 4th round, probably for some in the 5th, but around there, that you're now having to just drop for no value.
Right.
Is that a move you would make?
I don't think you're going to get 4th round talent from the draft for Robbie Anderson right now.
Correct.
He could be someone that you buy low. He might have a good rest of the season. But right now, he has 11 targets on the season. Through 3 games, he has 11 targets, brought in 5 of them. He has 1 touchdown week 1, which saved him. But he's just not seeing the volume. Maybe next week you might keep him. I keep him on your bench. I want to start him next week.
No, I don't think you can. But I don't think many people were even. I mean, I guess because it was Houston, but even we were saying, which was proven right, and was proven to not even be close. We were saying that Cooks over Robbie Anderson.
Right.
And like you said, it's just the volume concerns. I mean, he got 6 targets last week, but he also didn't do anything with them. His biggest week was week 1, where he had 1 catch for 57 yards and a touchdown. He only has 11 targets on the year. And it's not like I just don't know what changes. It's not like he's not on the field. Because there's a lot of rumors that Robbie Anderson was kidnapped. And we're very happy that he wasn't kidnapped during the game. He was on the field. He had it was an 85% route rate. DJ Moore had 93%, and Terrace Marshall had 73%. So he's the definitive wide receiver 2 in this offense. He's just not getting looks.
Right.
That might change with McCaffrey out, and I think that's what you hope for. I think that's why I would keep Robbie Anderson on my bench. See, Robbie Anderson would be good if he was Robbie Moore. Like, if him and DJ Moore were combined, then he might have some good value right now because DJ Moore is going off. But
DJ Moore's having a hell of a season so far.
As Robbie Anderson right now, I would keep him on my bench to see how he gets utilized without CMC, see if he can rebound. Because if you look back to last year, without CMC, he was going off. He was awesome. So hopefully that has a positive impact on him going forward.
Right.
DJ Moore was a stud. He had 8 for 126, 16.5 fantasy points in half PPR. And yeah, I mean, there's so many good wide receivers, so it's hard to say if he is a wide receiver 1 the rest of the way. But if you're not upset if you have DJ Moore on your team.
No, you're not upset about it. Just, temper your expectations that he is not going to be in the top 5 wide receivers. He's the 3rd ranked wide receiver right now. He definitely will not be there by the end of the season. I still think you should try to sell high on him. Maybe keep him for another couple weeks just until Christian McCaffrey starts looking like he's coming back, because they're obviously going to have to pass it a little bit more. Now
DJ Moore, pass it more.
Yes, exactly.
Kind of works out perfectly.
It does, really. Actually, quite perfectly.
So would you rather have DJ Moore or Mike Evans?
DJ Moore. I'm not high on Mike Evans just because
the boom bust kind of.
Yeah, he's hit or miss. So I'd prefer someone with more of a floor than
more of a floor. And
Great.
it rhymes.
It does. You are just on fire today.
I'm not. Hey, don't give the credit to me. Give it to DJ Moore. Chris Godwin or DJ Moore.
That's tough. I'd still go Moore just because Tampa Bay spreads it out so much. And I don't think Chris Godwin has the touchdown potential that Moore does, just because when you have Gronkowski, Tom Brady-led team, he is the number one option when they get to the red zone.
Mm-hmm. Chris Godwin actually might have, I don't want to say it, but he might have more touchdowns than Moore.
He has 2 touchdowns this year, and unless Moore has more than 2.
Moore does not have more than 2.
Oh, well, then he has less. So he's no longer DJ Moore. He's DJ.
But some would say Moore is less.
Right.
So I think that works out in DJ Moore's favor. I would rather have DJ Moore because he's scoring more fantasy points and having less touchdowns right now. So I would go DJ Moore there. DJ Moore or Deontay Johnson? This is my last one.
I don't know. The Steelers are just making shitty decisions with keeping their guys out there when there's no point, letting them get hurt. So that's a little bit of a red flag.
I would go DJ Moore, contrary to what I had to start the season. I mean, I had Deontay at 18 and DJ Moore at 19.
Right. I mean, Deontay Johnson is getting a lot of targets. He's had 22 targets so far, brought in 14 of them. Pretty good numbers. Only 1 touchdown on the season. That's a close one. I might have to go Johnson, but the Steelers are just, you don't leave your guys out there. You don't leave your healthy receiver who's helping your team out there on a shitty last-second play in which there's no hope of you winning the game. Time's already expired. Just bad coaching.
We'll talk more about Deontay Johnson a little bit later. The only other thing for this is Hubbard and Freeman. So CMC hurt. The snap count split. A lot of people were talking about Freeman because Freeman had a couple good plays in that game, but the snap count split was 38-11 in favor of Hubbard. Hubbard's the guy.
I have 40-11. Right? I have 40-11.
40-11?
Yeah.
Still, I think the point's
stands. Giant discrepancy in between the two guys. I think Hubbard's the guy that you want because even with McCaffrey in, Hubbard was still getting touches, or he was at least seeing the field, unlike Freeman, who now just recently started to really see the field now that he was out. I'd go Hubbard. Interesting flex idea because I don't think the Carolina Panthers... I mean, he got 11 carries, but they were also winning, and it's also the Texans. So I'd like to see him in like the next couple weeks. I have to look to see who they're playing. They're playing Dallas and then Philly. So I'd love to see those 2 games, mainly Philly, just because I think Hubbard might have a good week against Dallas and then come way back down to earth when he plays Philly's tough run defense. So
yeah, it's tough to gauge where he is going to end up because I think anybody knows CMC is just next level. I might be on an island here against you. You have some interesting opinions. I didn't say they're bad. I didn't say they're interesting.
Yeah.
So I think CMC is by far like the best back in the NFL.
I don't know if it's by far.
I think so.
I think Derrick Henry,
what he offers is so dynamic compared to everyone else and so explosive. I think Derrick Henry is possibly, I won't say by far the number 2. I think Dalvin's in the discussion as well. But I think CMC is just an irreplaceable player, I guess is more of the discussion. And obviously Hubbard's not going to step in and just be CMC. I think he could be like a low-end running back 2. but not going to give you obviously CMC numbers.
Right.
We talked about Davis Mills' long neck. Let's
did.
get into the injuries. Hollywood Brown back at practice for the Ravens. So was Lamar. A little conflicting reports on Lamar. What do you think about that? Did you hear why Lamar missed practice yesterday?
Illness, right?
Some reports were illness,
Mm-hmm.
but others were saying that it was because of his flip that he did into the end zone and he has a sore hip.
He has a sore hip or head?
Hip.
I didn't hear about the hip. That's an interesting one. If it is about his hip, I think that he loses a lot of his potential for you.
I don't know. I feel like.
Well, all right. If we're being real honest here, he gets you a lot of points on the ground. He runs the ball
For a quarterback.
He runs for a running back. He runs the ball more than most starting running backs do. He ran it 12 times week 1, 16 times week 2. You could go through. There's a couple running backs who are in the top 10 right now as far as points who didn't rush it 16 times. He loses a lot of his real boom potential if it's a hip injury. If it's just an illness, I feel like he doesn't lose as much. He'll be able to go out there, sweat it out, I think, probably be fine. But if it's his hip injury, it's going to ruin it. It's not going to ruin it. It's going to dampen his explosiveness potentially.
He was a full participant today, so I don't think it's going to hurt. He was. So I don't think it's going to hurt him too much. I just think doing flips into the end zone they might say, hey, Lamar, like, we appreciate the enthusiasm. Flips are also like a really cool thing. I wish I could do a flip, but like if you could not do that would also be cool. Like, I imagine it's hard to get somebody who can do a flip to not do a flip. But at this point, I think it's just better for the team if Lamar is not flipping.
Right. I mean, I guess if he does another flip this year, it just really stands out that he's not a team player. Just cements it. I think he's not, but you do.
I think it's tough because if I could flip, I'd be flipping all the time. I'd be like, I'd be flipper. Yeah, that might be like my nickname.
I mean, can you run?
Not to any sort of like ability that is impressive.
Right, but you can still run though. Like some people
being able to run and doing a flip is like dunking. Like it's just a cool thing that you can show off.
I guess so.
Moving on, Eli Mitchell was did not participate in practice today, and he's listed as questionable. John Lynch said he is very questionable.
Yes.
For Sunday night.
They have the Sunday night game.
It puts you in a pretty tough situation if you have him and you don't have any of the other guys. Sermon is still in the protocol, but they say that he is trending well. I guess we can talk about it later a little bit too, but what is your expectation for this backfield? Do you think?
So I heard that Mitchell is doing worse than they're letting on. And I heard Sermon will more than likely be the number one guy going into Sunday. But if I have Mitchell on my team and I don't have Sermon, I'm starting another 49ers running back. Or not another 49ers running back. I'm starting anyone but a 49ers running back if I can. I don't think they're playing Green Bay, so it's not going to be a hard run.
Green Bay has been bad against the run so far.
Right. So whoever is in will have a decent game if it's just one person. Well, if all these people banged up, Mitchell's banged up, Sermon's banged up, there might be some Trent Cannon in there too. Just
Jacques Patrick.
Right. Like there's a lot of names back there, and we're not even talking about Jeff Wilson, Hasty, or Moser. Like, there's just so many names in San Francisco's backfield this year. I don't think you start him. I'm kind of hesitant on him, especially now with all the injuries. I think you just stay away. Safer option, stay away, and let them prove themselves this week. But I'd rather have them prove themselves on my bench than let me down in my RB1, 2, or flex.
Yeah, I think Sermon is certainly, if Mitchell is inactive, is certainly a flex play, but I'm not feeling great about starting him. I think maybe if you're in a situation where you have somebody else hurt, maybe a running back that we'll talk about in a second, and you're desperate, and let's say maybe you only have 2 running backs on your team. Just if you are to go that route, it's an interesting route to go. I wouldn't recommend it, but some people may choose to only have 2 running backs on their team.
Yeah, we do.
And just throwing out a name out there, like let's say Dalvin Cook doesn't practice all week, and you just really need a guy to throw in there. It would be good to maybe make a trade for Sermon. But the person might also not want to do that. So
I wouldn't want to. If you have Dalvin Cook and you trade him,
no, not trading Dalvin Cook. Trading maybe a mid-level wide receiver or something like that.
Yes. So I guess we're just going to talk about the trade since you've poorly hinted at
what trade? I was just bringing up a hypothetical situation that I thought would be educational
for those who don't know, which I don't know how you would. Kondo offered me Zach Moss, the backup third-string running back for
not third-string running back. I don't know how you could be a backup and a third-string, but
it happens. And because Devin Singletary's not a real
and if you are a backup and a third-string,
right,
sounds like you can fill a lot of roles.
You could, and Hunter Renfrow for Devontae Smith.
We both love Hunter Renfrow, by the way.
Right. I've just been really high on Smith, considering I drafted him higher than anyone drafted Renfrow or Zach Moss.
I have a question.
High five?
No, I'm raising my hand because I have a question.
Better raise it higher. Recruit.
Well, if I raise it higher, that's going to be off the camera.
Yeah, well, now I can see it. There you go.
Are you calling on me?
Yes, okay. I did.
So you are high on Devontae Smith.
Right.
You are sitting him this week.
So far, I haven't looked at
place, and you are starting Zach Pascal in his place.
So far, I haven't really looked. I also didn't for those.
Am I supposed to know that you haven't looked at your fantasy team?
Yes, because I told you. Now I'm going to tell the people.
When I offered, was I supposed to say, I'm not. Cody must be high on Devontae Smith because he's on his bench behind Zach Pascal, but I know he hasn't checked his team yet.
Well, you could have asked. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
Before I offered to trade. Also, important news to mention in this deal. Yes. I think it's certainly a lower offer, but you have Dalvin Cook.
I do have Dalvin Cook.
David Montgomery.
I do have David Montgomery.
And you have no other running backs on your team.
Well, so far, I am getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Next week.
Yeah, right, on Tuesday.
Yeah. But that's not going to help in the case that Dalvin Cook, who hasn't practiced all week, is not practicing today, has a chance with an ankle sprain. Mm-hmm. It's very possible that he could not play this week.
Oh, yeah, I mean, for sure. But also, the trade would take place on a Friday at 1. Games are on Sundays.
So it would go through. For us, it's a one day thing.
The trade
would not go through Saturday.
The trade would. If you are starting Zach Pascal as your running back,
I hope that I'm not starting Zach Pascal.
But you're saying I should, even though I will.
I never said you should start Zach Pascal.
Well, that's what you're saying. You said I should give up.
No.
You said I should give up Smith.
I've never said Zach Pascal. I know what you're trying to say, but I've never said what you're actually.
Sorry, Zach Moss, whatever his name is. My God.
Zach Moss is potentially a good fill-in. He's in a Buffalo offense that scores a lot of points. He is their goal line back.
I'm just gonna pull something up real quick. No, continue to talk, Kondo, about how good
I didn't say he's good.
about how good Zach Moss
I'm not
is.
saying that Zach Moss
Mhm.
is like a great running back.
I mean, he did. I'll give you this. Did average over 3 yards a carry.
It's impressive.
It is. It is.
You know who else averages over 3 yards per carry? Derrick
Who?
Henry.
That is true. You know who else? You know who averages more than 3 yards a carry? Some would even say over 6 yards a carry.
Well, you just said 3 yards per carry. Over
Right,
3
right.
yards. Now we're changing the argument.
I'm just saying, Devin Singletary, who is also on.
But
Buffalo's
Devin
team.
Singletary does not run in between the 20s. He's going to have to break a giant run in order to score a touchdown.
Amen.
So, wouldn't you want the guy in what is known to be a scoring offense, a high scoring offense? Wouldn't you want the goal line back for that team over nobody?
Over nobody.
Like your alternative is, I think Ty Johnson's even picked up in this league.
Right,
So,
but you're making all these claims on the expectation Dalvin Cook will not play.
On the very possibility that
I will make a bet with you in front of all these fans that we have. Dalvin Cook will finish week 3 with more points than Zach Moss.
I'll make that bet. Not feeling great, but I'll make it.
Good. Well, I'm very confident that Dalvin Cook will play. He won't have a great week. It will be a down week for him. Just expecting that already.
If he does play, Seattle has given up the most points to fantasy running backs this year.
I think Madison is going to get more of a shared role this week. So Dalvin's numbers will be down, but Dalvin's still the number one guy. Like, Madison is not the guy who Minnesota wants to rely on. I mean, we got rid of Cordell Patterson, and Cordell Patterson is having a much better year.
Well, Madison was always the number 2 in Minnesota, or has been for the last, I don't know, however many years, 2 years.
At least 30, probably.
But if Dalvin doesn't play, I guess you'll have fun starting Salvon Ahmed.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, hey, I might not even start anyone.
I feel like that might be possibly the best alternative you got.
I have very good luck when I, just let the winds fly.
All right. Well, you know where, if you need a replacement running back, you know where to find me.
I'll take Tony Pollard, though.
No. I would. Anybody who asks for Tony Pollard from a Zeke owner, I guess, one, if you have Zeke and have Tony Pollard, don't trade Tony Pollard unless you're going to trade Zeke. I just don't think it makes any sense. I was offered very good deals for Tony Pollard this week, and I did not do any of them because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to trade Tony Pollard if you have Zeke for any, unless you're getting an insane, wide receiver 1 or running back, starting running back deal. I would not do it. I got offered T. Higgins and I said no.
Fair enough.
So back to the running backs. We had a healthy discussion there, and we got a bet out of it. So may the best man win.
I will. Thank you.
AB likely out. COVID protocol.
Yep.
Higgins has not practiced this week. News just came out that he is doubtful for this weekend. Cook makes practice again. Mentioned that. We'll see if he plays. Not many people don't practice a whole week and then play, but who knows? It's Dalvin Cook, and he's on Cody's team. So anything can happen.
That's really all you need to know for fantasy owners. If I start someone and people say you shouldn't, he will have a great week.
Okay, so also look into Zach Pascal.
I mean, if you guys
maybe Tyler Conklin, who knows? And Darrell Henderson, we still do not know Do
Right.
not have any updates on him yet. He
I
hasn't
heard
practiced
he
so far
was.
this week.
I heard he was from the injury that he's had, and from other people have said about the injury. They do not feel comfortable starting him, mainly because the injury it's more of a painful thing than like something actually wrong with you.
Mhm.
And if you're a running back whose sole purpose is to run into other human beings who are trying to run at you as hard as they can, and they hit you in your upper body, it's going to be even more painful. I suspect if he plays, it will not be a very productive week from him. And I think that you should not start Daryl Henderson if you have the option.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm actually starting, and I love Daryl Henderson. So, like, you're
I
not
think
going to get anybody who likes Daryl Henderson more than me. I think he'll be fine come next week.
right.
I don't really know much about the injury, so that might be talking out of turn, but injury and the worst matchup possible. So you're talking about like pain tolerance running into people.
And
What about pain tolerance running into like a 340-pound school bus in
right.
Vita Vea? Like, it's just not.
It's a bad week for the Rams.
Yeah, it's not going to be any better for Sony Michel. So I would not start Sony Michel at all either. I actually have. I don't know if I'm just blanking out, but I'm starting Hunter Renfrow over Daryl Henderson in one of my leagues just because I don't think that Henderson, even if he plays, is going to have too productive a week. You're relying on a touchdown.
Right.
I don't think either of these backs are going to have too efficient of a day. You're just banking on touchdowns from a game that should be high scoring, but it's a little too dependent on a score for me.
Right. Hunter Renfrow is a good fill-in option. I like it.
Yes, I like Hunter Renfrow a lot this week, which we will also talk about later. Any other injuries that I forgot?
Big Ben was limited all week. He also hasn't been playing well anyway.
Deontay as well.
Right. I really think that Najee Harris might be in for a pretty productive week, maybe, or high. He will have a high
volume,
I think. He's not the most productive back so far this year. Maybe that would change. They're playing Cincinnati, so maybe. But I think he's going to be in for a better week. I think we covered most every other injury that I had.
Cool. So let's get into the notable spreads for the week.
Spread.
The highest scoring games of the week are Tampa Bay at Los Angeles Rams. That should be an awesome game just to watch in general. At 55.5, Seattle at Minnesota at 55, and the Chargers at Kansas City at 54.5.
Right.
And we talked a little bit about the running back situation in this Tampa Bay Rams game. But this game being the high score of the week is intriguing to me just because these aren't – I mean, they are two epic offenses, but these are two very good defenses as well, or two defenses that have been known for being pretty good. It's just that their offenses are so quick to score and so explosive that they're on the field so much that they tend to give up a little bit more points. But I could see this not being the high score game of the week for sure. I think that these other two games are a lot more fantasy friendly than this one.
Right. Tampa Bay coming in 7th in defense this year. Rams at 9. Two good defenses, like you said. Tom Brady played the Rams in the Super Bowl, and that was a punt fest, the punt bowl.
That was a while ago.
That was, but it's still the same coach on the Rams.
It's a different defense, though. A different defensive coordinator. They've been through two defensive coordinators since.
Right. I'm not saying that Tom Brady is going to be able to know the exact same thing they're going to do. It's going to be like the Super Bowl. I'm just saying I could see it. I'm taking the under for that game. I don't know. I get it. Tom Brady can make things happen, and obviously it helps when you have 3 capable wide receivers, plentiful backs, and your old friend Gronk to throw to.
All the fullbacks. Can you name? I don't even know if either team has a fullback.
No, I didn't say fullbacks. It's all a full set of backs.
Oh, gotcha.
Like running backs. They run the ball.
They do.
Yeah, for now.
I think it was just the phrasing. The phrasing of it tricked me.
So okay. I don't like that game. I do like the Chargers. I think Chargers and Chiefs are the highest scoring game this week. I think that Minnesota, our defense isn't healthy yet. We're missing 3 people so far every single week. It's not good when you're trying to play professional football teams and beat them. We could probably hit the over for Seahawks and Vikings. Seahawks are a good team. Vikings are in the games. We're losing because of our kicker or not our kicker, the other team's kickers sometimes. But I think that Chargers, Chiefs, both good offenses with okay defenses. I don't think
they're anything special that's going to
no.
That's going to make too big of an impact on how special the offenses are. And I think for all these games, wide receivers, I think Tampa Bay, Rams, obviously you're starting both pairs of wide receivers with a ton of confidence. Especially, the Rams our Tampa Bay defense hasn't been that great outside. So those receivers,
you beat them through the air.
Yeah. So those receivers should be in for a decent day. I think that there's going to be a good amount of point scoring. I think a lot of it's going to be a passing game. I'm not sure if it's the highest scoring game of the week, but I think that there's enough. I think it's still an offensive game.
Right.
And it's still going to be a pretty fantasy-friendly game. Start both quarterbacks. Start all the wide receivers.
Start none of the running backs.
Gronk. Yeah, I'm not starting any of the running backs, though. And then Minnesota, Seattle. I mean, you're starting everybody. I don't think there's anybody that's should I start this person or not those games? Don't start Dalvin if he doesn't play.
Start him if he plays and still win your week, and then send the screenshots to Kondo and tell him how dumb he is for trying to get rid of him.
I'm not trying to get rid of him.
I'm trying
to help you, Cody.
Nope, trying to take him off my team.
I'm not trying to take him. I don't even want him.
Yeah, because he's gonna be
on my bench. Why would I want him?
Because he's gonna be on my bench, and you're gonna be like, oh, well, Dalvin Cook was in your starting lineup, so obviously you're not high.
Well, I mean, if you're not gonna use him,
what?
If you're not gonna use him, then somebody might as well.
See, I told you, you
then Chargers at Chiefs. I think the only person that we're thinking about here is a guy that you traded for that you're not going to be able to get until next week. But the guy you traded for nonetheless in CEH. Are you starting him over a flex guy that you drafted a little bit later? Say you drafted a Mike Davis.
That is tough. Mike Davis.
He's going up against the Giants this week.
Right. That's a tough one. I don't know if you do. I think CEH has to prove himself. It is the Chargers, so it's not a hard game, but it's not an easy game for him to just run it. Chargers are a middle of the road defense. It's going to be a high scoring affair. So he has a chance to get touches. Maybe not the easiest running game for him, though. But if he can start getting it going, that'd be helpful. But I think that
Chargers are 30th against the run so far.
So far. They
did play against Dallas, who has 2 great running backs. So that could make it. And they played it against Antonio Gibson. So
Right. So they played against good.
good. I mean, good opponents. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think that I don't know if CEH. He's not a power back though. Like he's kind of.
I'm starting him.
I'm
I
starting.
don't
I
feel
don't.
I don't feel
Doing
good
over
about
Mike,
it, but I'm starting him.
I don't know if I'm doing over Mike Davis because they're playing the Giants. That's the only thing. Like
The Giants are. Let's see. Giants haven't been great against the run either. They are 22nd. So I'm still going with CEH.
and they played Denver and Washington. Like not like similar backs to CEH's style.
Yeah, Denver has not had the best backfield. It's not
No.
something that you're thinking
Exactly.
is going to be incredible. They did have that one run that might have made it a little bit different, but yeah, I wouldn't blame somebody for going with Mike Davis. I would go CEH. You would go Mike Davis. So that's a split, and you're gonna have to refer to a third expert or just a first expert
Yourself.
outside of us for that.
It's your team. Remember that. Your team.
Mhm.
Make it how you want it to be.
Yeah.
Not how Kondo tells it to be.
I'm not telling you to do anything.
Told you to
Don't let this kid
He said start Mike Davis.
put stuff in your mind like I'm trying to trade for Dalvin Cook. I'm not trying to trade for Dalvin Cook. I'm trying to trade for Devontae Smith.
Oh, you don't want Dalvin Cook on your team?
Only if he's not on your bench. So I figure that you want him. Lows. Low scoring.
There's a couple low ones here that surprised me a little bit.
So the lowest is New Orleans at New England at 42.5, Cincinnati at Pittsburgh at 43, and Miami at Las Vegas at 44.
Oh, I have Jets and Broncos at 41.5.
Is it? It might just not have shown up on mine. Maybe I just messed that up.
Jets Broncos is 41.5. New Orleans Patriots is 42.5. Their next one, and then Bengals Steelers is at 43. So
yeah, that might have just not shown up. That's my bad.
That's all right. That's why you have two people on this show.
Just accountability.
Right. I think all these games are just weird games. I think the Patriots aren't a bad team.
I just think the offense is going to be tough to come by in that game. I think that you have two smart coaches and two smart teams that I think play pretty good defense and are going to be based mainly around their defense with how their quarterback play has been. Not that their quarterback play has been abysmal all the time, but just two guys that they're still trying to feel it out on offense and find that identity. So
I mean, Saints have the 5th ranked defense so far, and Patriots are tied with 2nd next to the Bills. So that game will be low scoring. I would probably take the under. I don't think Jameis Winston throws for 5 touchdowns, and I think Kareem Hunt will have a rebound game. I don't think he gets 5 points again this week. I don't think he gets 30, but I feel like he gets into the teens, maybe even a 20 if he can stumble in the end zone a couple of times.
We love Kareem Hunt here, even if he doesn't play for the Saints.
Right. Wait. Yeah, I meant Kamara. Jesus. Oh, my God. Sorry. No sleep.
I do not like Kamara this week. I mean, you're starting him because you can't not start him.
I think he gets a team number, though.
I will get to that later in the show. That in my I'll just say a little teaser. Kamara is in my bold predictions.
You're bold?
Yes. So one of the games that intrigues me here is Cincinnati-Pittsburgh. I don't think that's going to be as low scoring. Maybe it's just a divisional slugfest possibly. But I love Chase Claypool if Deontay Johnson isn't able to go. I think Chase Claypool could have a monster week. And with T. Higgins doubtful, I love Jamar Chase this week as well. I think Jamar Chase could be in for – we could have 2 monster receiving games in this one game.
I got to disagree with you on this one. I just think that with Deontay Johnson out, Big Ben a little banged up, and Najee Harris not running it overly efficiently yet, I don't think the Steelers. So 43.5 Steelers got to score 3 times. Cincinnati's got to score 3 times, and then each got to kick a field goal. Because that gets you to 42. One of them's got to kick a field goal. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's got to kick a field goal to beat the game. I don't know if I can see Pittsburgh coming down. I could see him scoring if everyone was healthy.
I mean, I'm not saying anything about the over-under. I'm just saying fantasy-wise.
Oh, fantasy-wise, I think
we are a fantasy show.
We are a fantasy show, but we can help the people make a little money.
Sure.
Do a little something. I think Bengals are more interesting. I feel more comfortable starting a Bengal this week than I would a Steeler. Not like I don't even like.
So if you had the choice between, which is very possible, to have the choice between Chase Claypool and Jamar Chase as your flex option or as your wide receiver 2, you are going Jamar Chase.
I am.
I would go.
Wait. You said Jamar Chase?
Yes.
I'd probably go Higgins.
Well, Higgins is.
I go Chase over everyone.
Higgins is doubtful for the week. That's what I was kind of saying. So if Higgins doesn't play,
I go Chase over everyone.
Yeah. I would go Claypool. I don't feel great about it. I think that they're both really good options. I think that they're both in for big weeks if the number one wide receiver is out, either Deontay Johnson or T. Higgins in Chase's place. So the Broncos and Jets. I mean, start your Broncos. That's basically it. Start your studs for the Broncos. My question was going to be, I had a couple start sits for that game that I wanted to see what you thought. Tim Patrick, are you starting or sitting him against the Jets?
Tim Patrick.
The receiver.
I don't think you start him. I don't.
Are you starting either of these Denver running backs?
Running backs? I would go Melvin Gordon. I would not go Williams.
I wouldn't start Williams yet either. I wouldn't feel great about Melvin Gordon, but I would.
Well, it's against the Jets, so I feel like you're going to
possibly play. Yeah, they're going to have to run.
You're going to be up. Like, if you're down on the Jets, maybe you don't deserve to be 2-0. All I got to say. I think Melvin Gordon has a better game, but Williams is going to eat into it a little bit, in my opinion, because they're just going to be up too much too quick, and they shouldn't be keeping their number one guy in there. Let Williams go in there, maybe throw in another guy like Beck or someone, give him a few carries just to soften up the Jets defense and save Melvin Gordon for better teams to come.
I don't know. I feel like the split is pretty even.
They have Baltimore like next week. Like, I really feel like they would be saving their number one guy.
Well, he's not their number one. They've split like pretty evenly carry wise throughout the season. So I just think that one of these guys is going to have a decent week, and I put my money on Melvin Gordon a little bit to get the edge, but I don't feel great about that. So I would try to avoid him, but like one of those guys is going to do something. If you need to start Melvin Gordon in a pinch in your flex, then that is fine.
It is a split. Week 1, it was 50-50. Week 2, 41 snaps for Gordon, 28 for Williams. I think it also helps when you're playing the Giants in Jacksonville.
Well, it also helps when you play the Jets.
Right. I'm saying like it's a split so far, and Melvin Gordon is showing that he's outperforming with less touches.
I don't know if he's outperforming him that much. He has that one. He had the one carry that I think inflates his numbers a lot.
Right.
I had Javonte as one of my buy low guys. I don't think this is the week that he's going to go off, but
I feel like if this is the week to go off, it's against the Jets.
I don't think it's this week. I just don't think he gets. I think eventually the opportunity will go more towards Javonte's way, but I don't think it's yet. Let me throw
a couple teams at you in their upcoming schedule here. They play the Jets. You said this is not the game for Williams to go off.
I just think it's not the time. I think it's going to be later in the season. We saw that with Cam Akers last year. We saw that with Swift last year.
Game after Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the game?
I don't think it's going to be then. I think it's going to be like week 6, 8, like week 6 to 10.
All right, so week 6 to 10. Here's their schedule: home for the Raiders, away at Cleveland, home for Washington, away at Dallas, home for Philly.
For me, it's not as much about the matchup. It's more about just when they say it's time to like unleash this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's not a like talent thing as much as when are they going to pull the reins back on Gordon and say, okay, we're going forward and we're going to give this guy the keys. That's more the opportunity.
Okay.
But I think that's enough time spent on the Denver Broncos backfield for talking today. Did I Miami, Vegas? I don't think that there's much to talk about. I do have an interesting take, and I said that I was starting Hunter Renfrow, and I think he's going to be the top performing wide receiver in this game.
Who they play?
Sorry. They play the Dolphins. I don't think that there's going to be much offense going in, but the Raiders' offense could be good here. There's an opportunity to be for sure. I just think that the Dolphins' defense is pretty good. I like Renfrow a lot. We both do. We've talked about that. He has.
You said Bryan Edwards would have a better season, right?
Which I still think is very possible.
Right.
But Renfrow, surprisingly, is getting the second most red zone targets. He has 4 red zone targets, and he doesn't have a touchdown yet this year. I think that it's only a matter of time before that changes. Right. I like Renfrow a lot this week, especially against a decent Dolphins defense. And I get that they gave up 35 points last week, but their offense was atrocious and couldn't move the ball at all. So
I think the offense is going to be similar to last week. You don't have Tua this week, right? I believe he is out.
I don't think the offense is as explosive as Buffalo's.
No, it's not, but.
And they have a week to prep for it, and they're prepping with Brissett as the starter. I don't think it's going to be like a close game, but I think it's going to be a little bit. They're going to be a little bit more in it than a 35-0 game.
It's not going to be 35-0 just because the Raiders aren't that team. I don't feel comfortable starting a Dolphins player this week.
Maybe, exactly. I agree. Even Gaskin.
I don't feel comfortable with Gaskin. Maybe no one. I'm looking through their team, trying to figure out who I like. Can't convince myself of anyone on this roster.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Darren Waller will have a great game. I just want to say that now.
Waller's an interesting one, obviously. You're always starting Waller.
You're always starting, but with Josh Jacobs out, or more than likely he will be out. He's questionable. More than likely will not play, just based off what everyone's.
A questionable running back who hasn't practiced all week.
Right.
We'll see what happens. Who knows?
You never know. I think that Kenyon Drake is not the same guy as Josh Jacobs. One, they have different names. 2, I think they have different size shoes. So
also wear different numbers.
Exactly. So yeah, I think Hunter Renfrow probably coming second this week for targets for that team.
Yeah. As a receiver, I just think that he's going to be the best option, not ahead of Waller. I think that would just be irresponsible and pretty wild. But I think that he is going to be a startable asset this week.
I agree. I like me some Hunter Renfrow.
Going into some of the other games for the week, Colts Titans. I think this is the A.J. Brown breakout. I feel very good about it. He's just seeing the targets. We talked about that. I think it's just getting that connection with Tannehill, getting that offense in sync. I think this is when it happens. Are you starting any? Well, you are. You're starting Zach Pascal.
I cannot see this game.
But are you starting any Colts wide receivers with confidence or at all?
I cannot see this game at all. Where is this?
Whether Wentz plays or not.
Coach wide receiver? No.
Besides Zach Pascal.
I mean, he might not even start. He's just he's in my lineup. I don't know how or why, but he's there. I don't feel great about starting him.
I think even with Wentz, the only one you could start is Pittman and feel okay about. Titans are 28th against the pass, and that's why if Wentz plays, I might play Pittman in my flex, but I guess it depends on your options, and I don't feel like awesome about it.
No.
So and especially if Wentz is out, I'd stay away from this offense altogether.
I think if Wentz is out, then Jack Doyle might have a good week. Someone who tight end that probably not many people have. Maybe you get him just because he's on a named team.
Interesting.
But I think he could have a good week. I feel like most quarterbacks when they come in, they like if they're not the starter, they like to keep the playbook simple for them, hand it off, do 5-yard hitches, do a couple slants, nothing crazy. I feel like people who play short and receiving backs have a much higher week than normal when they have the non-starter in, which is more than likely going to happen for this game.
Yeah, so that's an interesting vote of confidence for Nyheim Hines and Jack Doyle. I don't mind that Jack Doyle streaming idea. I don't think that he is the worst guy to pick up if you are in a pinch for tight ends.
If you don't have one of the top 5 tight ends or one of the top 4 tight ends in the league this week, I would not feel bad about starting him.
Okay. Baltimore, Detroit. I said this game might last 2 minutes with how much Detroit doesn't have the highest run play percentage, but they're also behind often. I think if it was up to Detroit, they would run it the whole game.
Right.
I think that we could see, just with the pace of play that these two teams play at and how much they like their running games, their running backs, could see this game last 2 minutes. I would expect a lower score than the 49.5 points that's projected for. But Hollywood's going to play. I was going to say Mark Andrews could have a week. I'm not feeling as confident about that now, but I could see a touchdown for him. You're starting Tyson Williams. I don't really know. You're not starting Jamal Williams. And those are really like the only questionable kind of guys that I can think of here.
Would you start Sammy Watkins?
No.
No?
No, not with how well Hollywood's playing right now.
Right. Hollywood is banged up with an ankle.
Mm-hmm.
Bankle for short. Hip kids.
And pretty derogatory towards the organization of the Bengals, but
right. And Lamar is either banged up or sick, one of the two. I feel like it's going to be a more pass-happy game. Well,
I do not feel that way at all.
I feel like Lamar might, if it's his hip, like you said it was, and
right, like let's not take that like too heavily since he's.
I'm not taking it super heavily. I'm just saying, like
playing. He played Friday. Sorry.
Played Friday.
He participated in practice today.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant played. I thought you meant played as in like they had a game.
He may have like just. He may have played anything. Monopoly, cards.
I don't know why.
Dominoes.
Yeah. Are you starting Latavius Murray this week?
I think the question is, are you starting Latavius?
No, because I have 2 good running backs who are going to play. So I don't.
We'll see. We'll see.
And Brandon Cooks was in my flex this week, and he got me 16.5 points. So.
Guy giving fantasy advice. We got to talk about that too.
What?
You put a guy in your flex that plays on Thursday night. That's like a cardinal sin.
I did not know he was there,
Well,
Like,
I don't think that helps your
no,
argument
it doesn't.
of
Like,
being a fantasy guy and
no,
not
like I
knowing
was
who you're starting.
well the
And he's
team
gone. Oh, what'd you say?
right here. I said I was sitting there watching the game, and then at halftime I was like, let me see how people are doing, and I looked and I said, oh Jesus, I have Brandon Cooks, and I turned my phone off. I said, this is not what I wanted to do.
Yeah, Cooks very well. We actually, I think, just accidentally might have skipped over him. Yeah, Cooks is the real deal.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I
That's
think
pretty
he's the number
quickly.
one option. He's the number one option on a team.
It's the only option.
Yeah, number one option.
Only option.
Right. Yeah, he's the only option on a
I
team.
think both of us are correct.
Right, we are. On a bad team, I mean, if you like Cooks, go out and get him.
He's also averaging 16.7 fantasy points per game, only 1 touchdown this year.
Right.
He's as safe so far as can be.
He has had 1,000-yard season and 6 touchdowns, I believe, 5 of the past 7 years he's been in the league. So
Yeah.
he's a very safe play.
On one of the most risky teams, which is
which is
impressive.
weird. Right.
Yeah.
But I don't feel comfortable with him being my number 2. Like, I don't want him to be my number 2 wide receiver. Just personally, like, I'm getting rid of him for CEH just because I feel like that's a better trade for me and my team's needs. But if you have Brandon Cooks and have him in your flex or something, and maybe you have him in your RB or wide receiver 2 spot because you have just boss running backs and you draft them early, then I have no problem with it. I like it. I just it's not my way I like to play.
Let's keep moving here. Chicago at Cleveland. It is the OBJ debut.
Potentially.
And we also have Allen. Well, they came out today and said that he is playing. He doesn't have a designation. He will be out there. OBJ debut without Jarvis Landry. And then we also have the Justin Fields debut, starting debut.
Right.
With a struggling Allen Robinson at receiver. So what are your expectations for both of these receivers?
OBJ's a little tough for me. Coming back from an ACL injury and being expected to play week 1 and now finally playing or listed as playing for week 3. We have to wait because he did warm up with the team week 1, so a little bit of false hope there for fans and owners. But I don't have a lot of faith in him to perform this week. I think he just needs a little bit of time to get back into the NFL. I mean, obviously, when he's healthy, even when he was healthy, him and Baker Mayfield did not seem to be on the same page. And I think that, especially with Jarvis out and that lack of playing together and lack of cohesion from those two, could be a little bit dicey for OBJ's numbers. I wouldn't start him this week. If you have him on your team, good for you. I'm sure might be able to figure it out this year. But I don't feel comfortable with starting him this week.
Do you see it? So you like OBJ season long, but just not this week. Do you see it like a Saquon situation where he just has to kind of like get back?
No, like I'm higher on Saquon than I am on OBJ.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But do you see like the injury thing similarly?
I see the injury slowing him down, but even when he was healthy and he had Jarvis on the team and it was with Baker, Baker and him just were not like on the same page. They looked like one was playing chess, one was playing Chinese checkers. Like it just didn't look the same. And Nick Chubb is obviously a force to be reckoned with, and they have Kareem Hunt, Hooper, Njoku. They just have other people they can get the ball to, who Baker has, he just has that, I can't even think of the word.
Rapport.
Yeah, he just, he knows them, and he knows that I can give this person the ball, and they will go make shit happen. Whereas OBJ, he has that potential to make spectacular catches and secure you the first down, and used to be able to break it long for you. But they have been able to get on the same page with that. So I'm not super high on him even for season long. And two, I can see them have a couple games back to back in which him and Baker just put their egos aside and figure this shit out.
I have a much higher view of Odell. I mean, coming into the season,
right?
I saw him as a wide receiver, low wide receiver 2.
Yeah,
I had him as my wide receiver 23 for the year.
Right.
I think that's still quite possible. I think it's I think he's now it would be more hoping that he's in that kind of wide receiver 30, top 30 range, which I think is very possible. Even when he was first things first, when he was playing in his first year with Cleveland, he was playing with sports hernia. He was getting a ton of targets. They were just not on the same page.
Right.
And he was playing hurt. And then he came back and got hurt again. So I think the opportunity is there for Odell to be a top 30 wide receiver and to be a wide receiver 2 the rest of the way because of just the opportunity. The targets, and obviously Jarvis gone. I don't think they have anybody there who's going to command targets that it's going to take too much away from him. I still expect him to be a 8 to 10 target player pretty soon after he comes back. Now, I do agree with you in the sense of it might take him a couple weeks to get back, just because we expected him to be fine by the start of the season. It's taken a little bit longer. Might take him a little bit to just get adjusted. We kind of expected that with Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton was supposed to be on a snap count week 1. It took him at least a game to kind of get into it.
Right.
I see this being an okay game for Odell. I think he's a fine flex play this week.
What do you consider a fine game for?
I think he has 5 catches, 60 to 80 yards.
So 10 points is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're saying he gets 10 points? Maybe.
I think if he gets you anywhere 9 to anything above 9 points, I'd be very happy.
All right.
I'd be encouraged.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of the wide receivers between 25 and 35 here.
For the week or for the season?
Season. I'm just looking at where could you put him at 30? You said you could see him inside the top 30 or at 30. Stephon Diggs 24, Justin Jefferson 26, Devontae.
Whoa. Well, let's talk about you're talking about the guys where they've performed.
I'm just saying the names of people.
Yeah.
Who are
but we're not saying that Stephon Diggs is going to be wide receiver 24.
I'm not saying that. I'm just putting the names out there of who currently is in that spot, and then you tell me where he fits in along these names.
Well, I don't think that's no offense, I don't think that's how I would look at it, because you're not saying that.
You say he's going to finish as a top 30 wide receiver.
Yeah, but we're not saying Stephon Diggs is going to finish as wide receiver 24.
Right, but Julio Jones, who a lot of people are real high on, is wide receiver 40 right now.
Yeah, but that's right now. That's not the rest of the season.
But here's what I'm saying though. OBJ down 2 weeks. 2 weeks out, coming back from ACL injury, with a quarterback who, gave him targets, but there was not a whole lot of connecting going on. Julio Jones does not, from what anyone's ever said, seems to be a locker room distraction, quite like OBJ. And Julio Jones, with a
I had Julio Jones as my wide receiver 15 to start the year, and I still think that he can finish around there.
Right. But Julio Jones is having a slow start. Juju's
He had one bad game. One bad game where the Titans' offense was awful.
Right.
I don't think it's a slow start, like one game. I think we're putting too much weight on these first 2 games.
All right. I'm just saying that there's big name people who are currently down low. And then there's the surprise people up top. I just think that it's I just can't see it. I can see OBJ having a couple good weeks. I just can't see him being a streaming option for me.
A streaming option? What do you mean streaming option?
Well, if he's top 30, that's pretty much a streaming option because 30
streaming
is
out like he would be a flex play.
Right. I mean, you'd have 24 starters in a 12-team league. There's 24 starters. He's in consideration to even be up there if some team has Cooper Kupp or some team has Brandon Cooks, Deebo Samuel, Sterling Shepard, and Jamar Chase on their team. They can only start 2 or 3 of those guys. Takes away it. 30 is still like a streaming option for RB2. You're saying that he's going to finish as a top 2 receiver. I just have a hard time trusting him as that. I need to see it before I believe it.
I'm saying that he finishes. So I just pulled up Fantasy Pros top rest of season rankings.
Okay.
In the top 30, they have Cortland Sutton. 29, they have Devontae Smith. 28, they have Antonio Brown. 27, Chase Claypool. 26, Deebo. 25, Jamar Chase. 24, Deontay. I think that I think he finishes ahead of AB. I think he finishes ahead of Claypool. I think he finishes ahead of Devontae Smith. I feel pretty confident with any of those.
Where is Juju on there?
Juju is 35. I think he finishes way ahead of Juju.
I think Juju comes up a little bit.
You don't? No.
Okay.
We're very off on that one.
Right.
I'm interested to see when we do a rest of season rankings because there are going to be some massive disagreements on there.
I also think that Jarvis is out right now. So obviously this game will be an outlier. The same with the next game to come. Because you can't possibly not get Jarvis Landry back involved like he was for week 1 and 2.
I disagree with that too.
You think that Jarvis?
Well, he's not going to be as involved as he was. You can't say that Odell without Jarvis is an outlier while saying Jarvis is going to go to form like he was without Odell. I feel like that's just a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for, but I just feel like that's not an even comparison. I think that and Odell's still not going to be fully. We don't know if he's going to be fully healthy this week, so we can talk about this another time. This is a fair disagreement that we're going to have for a while, and we're going to see how the numbers work out this week. But we have to move on because we're at an hour and 13 minutes, and we still have 5 games left.
I mean, who else? Oh, I just lost everything. That is uncool.
Back-to-back days.
This is literally awful. This time it was me, not even the cat came over. I tried to hit the minimize button. I hit the X, and I just saw it just slowly go down. I said, that's not what I wanted you to do.
There's no one else to blame. That's but at least you took ownership for it.
Yeah, this is on me.
Mm-hmm. We talked. I don't know if we did talk about it. We talked a little bit about Atlanta and the Giants. My question is, what Giants receivers are you starting or trusting this week? Falcons are 16th against the pass, but the Eagles didn't really have to pass that much. And Tampa Bay didn't have to pass as much as they probably would have if Atlanta would have put up a little bit more of a fight in the first half. So what receivers are you trusting on the Giants?
Sterling Shepard, he's on my team. I obviously like him. I think he is the number one so far coming into the season. Kenny Galladay is number two for me, despite the fact that Slayton is outperforming him so far. I just think that Galladay is just too good to be where he is right now.
Are you starting Galladay this week?
No.
I feel okay about it,
I don't feel bad about it, but I have Sterling Shepard on my team. I'm not starting Kenny Galladay and Sterling Shepard. And I feel like most people would have two better wide receivers, if not three, who they feel more comfortable. Yeah, Atlanta's not super good, but I just don't. I don't know if you do it.
Would you rather start Galladay or let me look here. Juju.
Juju. I think they're going to have to pass more in Pittsburgh against them. I think that the Giants are either going to be down too quick or the Falcons are just going to roll over too quick.
I think it's going to be. I just think that without Deontay, I would take Juju. With Deontay, I would take Galladay.
Well, you said this week, so
yeah. If we don't know if Deontay's going to play yet. Still, that hasn't been announced yet.
Well, I mean, they're just not good at making decisions over in Pittsburgh. Can't keep their players healthy. Probably not good to play him, so they'll probably play him. So.
LaVisca or Galladay.
Oof. That is tough. I like LaVisca.
I'm going Galladay, but I don't think it's like an insane decision to go against it. So let's go to a little bit of talk about LaVisca and Arizona at Jacksonville. Points. That's what I wrote down. And then wide receivers to trust. Kind of similarly. There's a bunch of wide receivers on both of these teams who is trustworthy. And I'm not sure that I feel great about any of the Jacksonville guys after LaVisca had a tough week last week. Mm-hmm. He's come back from an injury. I think Marvin Jones is weirdly like the number one guy you trust in Jacksonville.
I did say that. I said I like Marvin Jones.
But who do you trust? Who do you trust on this Arizona offense?
On the Arizona side of the ball,
obviously D-Hop. But
D-Hop is number one. Oh, I just got bit. Ow, that hurt.
I'm not sure that I am as high on these Cardinals receivers this week, just because I think they might get out to a big lead.
Right.
So I'm not.
I'm with you on. I think they're going to have a good size lead. It is Jacksonville, and Trevor Lawrence has just been turning the ball over like crazy. So I think that Arizona will have more than enough opportunities to score, where they won't feel the need to try to make a big play happen every single time, and they might just try to short gains, maybe run it. They got two backs who are capable of running the ball. I'm not. That's tough.
This could be one of the few and far between James Conner games.
Right. Obviously, Moore is ranked higher than Kirk, so I probably will go with Moore, just because I feel like he's going to have the better game out of those two, or I guess out of the rest of wide receivers not named Nuke. But Chase Edmonds and James Conner, I think, are in for better games than most of the wide receivers are.
I think that I wouldn't feel great about starting Rondale this week, just because, and I don't know, I don't think all of the Cardinals wide receivers eat this week. I think one of those
Green doesn't eat, and Kirk, I don't think eats.
I think Kirk or Rondale is going to catch like a big pass or is going to have like the big day.
Right.
I just don't know which one it is. So, and it's not an offense that they're going to have to keep up with enough that I think you can start either of them with like too much confidence. Like Rondale is going to be I think a risky option. He's going to be a boom bust guy. If he has a great day, he's going to have a great day.
Would you rather start him or Juju?
That's a tough question. I think that comes down to what I need. And I'm like, I apologize for like copping out of the question a little bit, but
you majorly copped out. Like that's not even like an answer that could be wrong. That's like if the teacher hands you the task and you said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't study," and then hand it back to her. That's that. I think that's the same situation. I think that I'm more comfortable starting Moore. I think that Arizona is working to get him involved into the offense. I start Moore over a lot of the other, like,
RB. So you would start Moore over OBJ?
In a heartbeat.
Okay. So I'm like in a heartbeat the other. But like as far as the Juju thing goes, the reason I say that is because I think if you need a safer floor and you have some more boom bust guys in your lineup, I'm starting Juju. And if you need a boom bust guy to go with some of your safer floor options, you go Rondale Moore.
Moore is not even like, in my opinion, a crazy play.
No, like, I mean, he hasn't been so far. I think that I expect a little bit of regression coming.
I mean, week 1, he went 4 for 5, 68 yards. That's a pretty decent game for a guy who has 3 other wide receivers fighting for targets with him. Week 2, 7 for 8, 114 and a touchdown. Like, obviously a big week last week. I just think that I'm taking Moore over OBJ just because OBJ injury, not even 100% sure if he will play.
Well, he's definitely going to play.
He's definitely going to suit up, and he will definitely be on the sideline.
Well, then how is he's going to play? So he's going to play. There could be a pitch count or something like that. But also want to mention 2 of like the teams that the Cardinals have played so far, the Titans and
Minnesota
and the Vikings. So I think that there's been some times where they've expected to need a little bit more offense at least. And that's kind of what I'm slightly worried about, but I don't want to say I don't think you're losing your week because you put in Rondale Moore. But I'm not like upset if somebody's like, "Oh, I put in Rondale Moore over Juju" or something like that. Now, I would be upset if they put in Rondale Moore over Odell, but it's not my decision to make. So if I probably wouldn't be upset. I would just be like, I disagree.
You have OBJ over Moore week 3. That is
easily.
If you say so, Chief.
Green Bay at San Francisco is our last game. Do you trust? We kind of talked about. Do you trust any of the San Francisco running backs? You said so. No. Would you wouldn't play Sermon, even if he's the only guy there?
The only person I trust on San Francisco's team this week is Deebo Samuel.
Not even Kittle.
I think Kittle does have a good week.
You have to start him if you have him. It's kind of
right,
like that.
Like George Kittle's due for a big game. They're playing Green Bay, pretty soft team, and they have no healthy running backs. Almost everyone on their team for running back has a Q or an O or an IR. It looks like bingo out there. Just so many letters. Alphabet soup. I think Kittle gets involved, and I think Deebo Samuel, Kittle are just going to have to carry the team by themselves.
Until Brandon Ayuk just like appears once again.
Right. You keep saying that Brandon Ayuk, the 136th ranked wide receiver, will just come out of nowhere and just all of a sudden dethrone Deebo Samuel as the 5th ranked wide receiver.
I did not say that once.
That's how I hear it when you say it. When you say Brandon Ayuk, like he's the.
I didn't even put him on my buy low. I wouldn't trade for him or anything.
I don't think you have to buy low. I'm pretty sure you can pick him up.
I wouldn't drop him, but I wouldn't go out and get him. So, Okay, so I wouldn't start Sermon unless you're in a pinch.
Yeah,
I
agree.
I feel decent about Kittle going forward.
Kittle, Samuel, those are 2
Debo,
guys to take away.
yeah, Debo has a 37% target share right now, and that's just insane. Like, that's not sustainable. Kittle is
What's
second
Devontae
on
Adams at? I haven't even looked.
What was that?
What's Devontae Adams' target share? I'm trying to find it.
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I know that Cooper Kupp also has an insane one, so like expect regression there as well. But for the sake of this game, I think Kittle's going to get more involved. I'm not panicking on him. And yeah, I mean, I think Green Bay is pretty self-explanatory. Start those guys that are the must starts. I don't think that there's anybody really that's like a questionable start for them. I think outside of Devontae, you're not starting any other wide receivers or anything.
I wouldn't start any of the other. I'd start Aaron Jones, obviously.
But yeah, you're starting Jones, you're starting Devontae, you're starting Rodgers.
Tunyon is someone that I don't feel strong about. Haven't and won't. Can't do it.
Just the low volume.
Right. Something I think I found this. I'm not sure if this is just for the game or if this is for every game so far, like the 2 games we've had. Devontae Adams has a 30.4% target share.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a beast.
Stephon, 29. Hopkins, 29. Waller, 27. Jamarcus Bradley with 26.
I don't know who that is.
This might be last year.
Well, that's not helpful.
Well, no, it says this year. That doesn't make any sense because I don't even know who this guy is.
Well, the point is you're starting all those guys besides Jamarcus Bradley.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's get into our bold predictions before we sign off. Do you have – I have 3.
Sorry,
do you also have 3?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, completely.
Bold predictions. I have 3. Do you also have
I have
3?
I have a bold prediction this week.
Okay, you have 1.
Well, I have a couple. I'll go with 1 first, and then I'll let you.
Give me your top 3.
So top 3, I guess, is that Dalvin Cook is not broken like everyone says he is. Bold prediction: he will finish as a top 15 to 20 running back this week.
That's a bold prediction.
Well, you said he's going to be out, so that would mean he would have 0 points.
But if he does play, he's going to finish as a top 10 running back. Like, that's pretty obvious.
I don't think so because I think his ankle, they're just going to snap count him too much.
All right, well,
I think
I'll just change this title to predictions then. I suppose.
Oh, fine. You tell me your bold predictions then. Well, actually, another bold prediction. Tony Pollard outscored Zeke again. 2 weeks in a row, secures himself as the lead back. Zeke owners should just dump Zeke while they can. Bold prediction. Third bold prediction, Lamar Jackson, 2nd week in a row, will lead his team in rushing attempts. Put it on the paper.
So, one of your predictions is Dalvin Cook will be a top 15 running back.
Right.
Another one of your predictions is a guy that you say, falsely, but you do say is a running back, will lead the team in rushing attempts.
I am saying, yes, that the quarterback, as you like to call him.
Oh, so he is a quarterback. Thank you.
I said as you like to call him.
Moving on, I have a bunch of good bold predictions here. A little bit bolder, if I do say so myself.
Probably. I'm more of a timid guy myself.
Well, let me rename this then. I will go timid predictions.
Cody's timid predictions, actually. That's how I'd like it to be.
Let's use that instead.
Right.
I'm not sure how timid these are, though. Jamar Chase finishes as a top 5 wide receiver this week with T. Higgins out. Steelers corners have not necessarily been great this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Jamar Chase is the number 1 guy outside, and it's a big opportunity for him to really establish that target volume along with the explosivity and have a big game in a big game, in a big rivalry game with Cincinnati. My next one is Hunter Renfrow will finish as a top 24 wide receiver.
How is that bold?
Has he finished as a top? He's actually available in, I think, 70% of leagues. So I think he's going to finish as a wide receiver 2 this week.
Averaging over 10 points over 10 points a game.
Where does that rank him?
44th.
Ranks him outside of the top 40. I have him finishing in the top 24.
Yeah. They're playing Miami, so that's why I said.
They're playing Miami. Some would say a good defense. Now, next week's probably not, or last week is probably not the best indicator of that. But some would say, I'm sure, they may have missed last week, but that's still some. My last one is that Kamara finishes with under 7 fantasy points in half PPR scoring.
Kamara, wait, what? Kamara finishes in how many or how few?
Under 7.
Under 7 points.
Yep.
Let me just
find. Can I change this back to bold predictions now?
Yeah, you can. You
can.
Cool. Actually, don't even change it back to bold predictions. Just say Kondo spews garbage.
It's not.
Half straight. You're saying Alvin Kamara.
Yes.
Has less than 5 points this week. And half point.
That's not what I said. I said he has less than 7.
Oh, less than 7.
Which is a little weak. I think that New England's defense, we kind of saw it last week, albeit it was Corey Davis and not Alvin Kamara. They have a tendency to take out your number one weapon, and it makes it a lot easier when you really only have one weapon. Mm-hmm. New England defense, as you said, is tied for second right now. I just think that they're going to plan everything around taking Alvin Kamara away. And it's going to my bold prediction is that it works very well. I'm not sure that it actually does, but if I'm to make a bold prediction, I am to say it does.
I do not agree with any of these.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think that they're likely, but they're bold. That's kind of the point.
Right. No, I agree. Like, I think you would like it if you were right, but.
Well, I'm not banking on myself being right. I
have another question. Bold. Are you playing the Alvin Kamara owner? Is that also why you're just trying to, like?
I don't think so.
I can't.
No, I'm not. I actually have Kamara in one of my leagues. So, I mean, but I don't care about that because I'm in it for the show. I'm in it for spewing the boldest takes in bold take predictions. It's completely separate. Here, I'm just dedicated to what I'm doing right now. And my fantasy team, you know what? I can sacrifice sometimes. And plan accordingly.
Right.
Obviously, you're starting Alvin Kamara, but you're temper your expectations. I don't expect him to have a great week. He'll probably go off in spite of me, but that's just how it's going to go. So I might have helped you if you do have Kamara.
I have a question. If you are going to, would you make a bold prediction that Jalen Reagor at the end of this week has more total targets this season than Devontae Smith?
It depends.
He has 4 targets behind right now.
Are we talking about Devontae Smith on my team or Devontae Smith on your team?
Neither. I'm just going to drop him and let best man win.
I mean, I think Devontae Smith is the number 1. So.
Oh, okay. That's just what I wanted to hear you say that too.
I never said that he wasn't the number 1.
Right. No, but when you offer me backups who are number 1s on a team.
He's on your bench behind Zach Pascal. I had a feeling that maybe you didn't think he was the number 1.
Colts.
Anyway.
So, all right. So Michael Pittman Jr. only has 5 more targets than Zach Pascal, but Zach Pascal has 8 more targets this year than the third tight end or wide receiver, Mike Strachan. No, don't know how to say his name because no one's ever said it on national television before. Sorry.
Who cares? What does that have to do with anything?
Zach Castle gets more of an opportunity.
He's also not the third receiver. The third receiver is Paris Campbell. But the Colts' offense is just not very good, especially with Jacob Eason. Henderson's going to be a game time decision. That's kind of breaking news. We just found that out.
Nice.
They're going to be smart with him today, and he's expected to be a game time decision. Like we said, they're playing the Bucs, so probably want to find another option if possible.
If you could, I would.
We do have a question before we sign off for the day. The Second Take Extra asks us to rank Alexander Mattison, James White, and Javonte Williams. I'm not sure. Is this for the season or is this for this week in full PPR?
Can you say that? Wait, say that again.
3 names are Alexander Mattison, starting running back for the Minnesota Vikings this week. Not hopefully for the safety of Dalvin Cook. We want him to be fully healthy. This is for this week.
Okay.
So ranking Mattison, James White, and Javonte Williams for this week. That's a really good question. I would go saying that Cook doesn't play because it is expected that Cook doesn't play, right, Cody?
It is expected Cook will play, actually. Sorry.
Expected that Cook.
Put that out there.
I haven't heard that.
Well,
but
like 3 different sources have said he will play.
If Cook doesn't play, I have to go Mattison just because of the volume. And then I'm probably going James White in full PPR and then Javonte Williams. So just how you wrote it out,
yeah,
it's pretty good to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I honestly think that Dalvin Cook will play, so I'm not super high on Mattison starting and or playing. So I might switch White if news comes out Sunday morning at 4:00. I think we have the 4:20 game that Dalvin Cook is out. Then obviously, hopefully you didn't have James White in your lineup, but I wouldn't be counting on it.
Yeah, Madison is the later game. The other guys play earlier, so that is going to be a tough decision. They do ask, should they take the risk with Madison? And you are saying...
I am saying no. As far as I have read, not just as a Dalvin Cook owner, but as a Vikings fan, I have heard that Dalvin Cook will play. It's just more than likely he will play than he would not play.
So Javonte plays a later game.
Mm-hmm.
James White plays an early game. Madison plays a later game. I would probably hold out. I would hold out and then say Madison or Javonte, because I think the reward you're getting with Madison, especially with a Seahawks defense that, like we said, is giving up the most fantasy points to running backs this year. I think that's just like too big of an opportunity. And I think the James White, Javonte Williams separation isn't going to be anything crazy.
No.
So I would probably go with waiting on those later games and then choosing between Madison and Javonte.
James White.
It is full PPR.
It's full PPR. I'd probably go James White. Alexander Mattison doesn't have the explosive power that Dalvin Cook has. James White has his standalone value. In full PPR, he has 12.1 points week 1, no touchdown, I believe. Yeah, no touchdown. Week 2, he has 18.5 points, 1 touchdown. So very similar weeks if you take away a touchdown. I'd probably start him over Madison. I'd start him over Madison even if Cook is out, just because
Really? Yeah, I think one thing that's important too is it goes back to what we were talking about of whether you need that boom or whether you need the floor. If you're looking for more of a floor play, like just somebody to not to be confused with floor play, somebody who can just get you by through the week, get you like 10 points, and not mess up. I think James White might be your option, but if you're looking for somebody who may have a little bit more of that ceiling and is a little bit riskier on the floor end, then I would go with one of the later guys.
Right.
I hope that helps.
If not, then you have Kondo's Twitter. Just at him, tell him how dumb he is.
You can do that.
You can. I don't have a Twitter, so I can't. So you can before me.
Yeah, I'm sacrificing myself for the both of us.
Thank you. That's
at
why
our condo on Twitter, by the way. Thank you for asking the question. The second take extra.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. That is it for us today. We will be back Monday to talk about everything that we got wrong. And maybe, if we're lucky, even some stuff we got right.
I will be more than happy to tell everyone what I got right.
So, good luck to everybody this weekend. And we'll see y'all Monday.
Adios.